Hey, first graders. I'm going to continue working with you on the social studies unit titled We Belong. You've worked on that with your regular classroom teachers. And today I want to talk to you about this concept. It says members of a group work together and show compassion for each other, which is really important. So compassion is when you care about somebody else's feelings or what happens to somebody else. And we're going to talk about different ways that you can show compassion. You can show compassion for your mom and dad or your brothers and sisters. You can show compassion for your dog, and you can even show compassion for yourself, which is really important. So I want to share a book with you that's going to explain a little bit more about what compassion looks like, and then we're going to talk about an activity that we're going to do together. So the book I want to read for you today is called How to Heal a Broken Wing, and it's by Bob Graham. And if you take a look at the front cover, there is somebody on this front cover who seems to be showing a lot of compassion. Think about who that might be. If you're thinking it's this boy in the picture, I think you're absolutely right. And he's showing compassion for an animal, isn't he? So let's read the book and see how he ends up showing compassion for this animal. How to Heal a Broken Wing. So this book starts before the words even start. So here's the title page, and we see the beginning of the story. And this is the kind of beginning of a story that you sort of have to tell yourself what's going on in the story, right? So if I look at this, I know that we're looking at a big city because I can see these big buildings, and there's that bird from the front cover, and he is flying through the big city. But then something happens because we know birds don't fly upside down. Can you think about what happened here? Yeah, sometimes birds, when they are flying, they don't, and the windows are really clean, they don't see that they're windows and they fly right into them. And there's the beginning with the first words. High above the city, no one heard the soft thud of feathers against glass. No one saw the bird fall. I love how Bob Graham shows the progression here, right? No one looked down. All these people are just walking by. Except Will. Do you know who Will is? Yep, he's that boy from the front cover. Look at this. I love how Bob Graham tells us more in the pictures, right? They start to walk by. Will notices the bird, and he pulls back on his mom, and then he heads to the bird. Will saw a bird with a broken wing. And these are pages with no words, so you have to tell yourself the story. And Bob Graham helps because you can see the most important part of the picture. I'm not sure if you guys can see that over the camera, but it's highlighted in yellow. So there we have Will picking up the bird and his mom looking concerned, but everybody else just going about what they normally do. So here, Will and his mom are showing compassion for this bird. Can you see the ways that they're showing compassion? They stopped and they picked him up. They wrapped him in what looks like his mom's scarf, and she put him carefully in her bag, and Will even stopped to pick up the extra feather, and he took it home. A loose feather can't be put back. But a broken wing can sometimes heal. And all through the story, you see different ways that Will and his family are showing compassion for this bird. Wrapping his wing, giving him water, making sure that the bird has a nice place to rest and there's food. And there Bob Graham made a highlight of what was important, them gently putting the bird in the box. With rest, I'm going to give you a minute to look at the pictures and tell yourself the story. And time. You can see the wings starting to work. Not great yet, but they're taking good care of him. And a little hope. A bird may fly again. Where do you think the family is going there? You've seen this before, right? Will opened his hands and look what happened. And with a beat of its wings, the bird was gone. And there's Will at the end, maybe catching some feathers to remember the bird by. So think about how Will really showed compassion for this bird, right? Took it home and he took care of it, where a lot of other people around him weren't doing that, were they? So he really cared about how the bird was feeling and what happened to that bird. So first graders, as we go through our days, it's really important to notice things in our lives, right? And we're going to do this little exercise where it helps us to notice when things go well and things don't go well, and maybe some times where you witnessed a kindness or you were part of being kind and compassionate to somebody else. So what you all have one of these in your folders, and you're going to put your name at the top. Just good habit to get into. Even though you're at home, it's a good habit to make sure that you put your name on your papers. And so we're going to think about this noticing as a rose bush. I have rose bushes in my garden. They're some of my favorite part of my garden. And my rose bush has roses, right? The flowers on them. And my roses have thorns. All roses do. And my roses have rose buds on them. And you can think about it like this. A rose is so beautiful. It's like a really good thing that happened. So when you think about the rose, you can think about and notice a time when you had a good experience. The thorns are unpleasant, right? They're important, but they're unpleasant. And when you think about the thorns, you can think about a time when maybe you made a mistake, but it helped you to learn. It was unpleasant when it happened, but it certainly helped you in the long run. And then the buds are kind of the hopeful part, right? Not quite a flower yet, but heading in that direction. So when you think of the bud, you can think of a time when you witnessed a kindness. So I'm going to show you in a quick sketch what this would look like as I fill it out. So, and you can think of the last couple of days. You can think of the last week or so. I want to just think about the weekend. So I had a really great experience this weekend. My husband and I went on a hike, and we hiked to Boulder over these great paths on the South Mesa Trailhead, and it took us almost the whole day. Well, once we got to Boulder, we rewarded ourselves with lunch, but it took us all day. And what a great experience we had. So a time when I had a good experience is when I went on a hike. And that's my rose, right? That's something really good that happened to me. And then I do have a thorny issue from this weekend. So this weekend, my daughter wasn't feeling good, and she woke me up in the middle of the night to tell me she wasn't feeling good, and I sort of sat up with with her, and I was really, really tired. And the next day, I kept trying to get things done around the house, and I kept dropping things, and I broke a glass, and I just wasn't doing very well. And I realized that I was too tired to do the thing that I wanted to do. So my mistake was I was trying really, really hard to get something done, and I just wasn't capable of doing it. And so I learned that sometimes you have to stop and you have to rest. So I'm gonna draw my bed, because after I realized that I was too tired to really work around the house and get stuff done, I learned that I needed to go take a rest. So I'm going to write, I needed to rest. And it was thorny, but I learned from it. Well, then I was really, really lucky because I took my rest, and when I woke up, I came downstairs, and my husband Mark and my son Jonah had cleaned the house completely. So all the things that I wanted to accomplish, cleaning the kitchen and cleaning the living room and the bathrooms, because they knew how tired I was, they took care of it. And what a kindness to me, right? I mean, usually we do all that kind of work together, and instead they said, nope, you go rest and we'll clean up. I'm going to put some sparkles on this to show that it's sparkling clean, sort of my kitchen. So my family cleaned the house. And that kindness that they did for me was such a wonderful little hopeful bud that is going to grow into a beautiful rose. So I want you to think about these three things for yourself. A time when you had a good experience, then I want you to draw a picture and maybe write a sentence about it. A time you made a mistake that helped you to learn, and draw your picture and write a sentence about it. And then a time where you witnessed a kindness. It could be a kindness somebody did for you or a kindness you did for somebody else. And draw a picture and then write a sentence about it. And then, of course, when you're done, you can start adding color to your work. People need clothes, right? All right. So I'm going to continue adding color. And I just want to remind you that the reason we're talking about this is it's so important that when we work together as a group, we think about the good experiences, we learn from our mistakes, and we show kindness to each other. Have fun with this. And then when you're done, go ahead and take a picture of it and upload it to Seesaw. You'll see in this lesson where to do that. Thanks, first graders. Talk to you soon.